Thank you all for coming out. Let me just start off with, the state, has looked like they have a preliminary budget that's going to be passed, hopefully on Thursday. And from my vantage point, it would be good that we have a budget, but from another standpoint, the city of Sacramento is going to be impacted in a very negative way. And I'm very concerned that, we as a city can fight the economy. We don't have any control over that to the best of our ability. But when we also have to fight the state, I met with the Big Five, a few times with mayors throughout the state of California, lobbying on behalf of how do we protect local revenue? How do we protect our own general funds? And the worst possible scenario, at least that's being proposed today, is not only taking our Prop 1A funds, which impact us about $12 million locally, but also our gas tax, which impacts us about $8 million locally. And then on top of, and let me make a point on the gas tax, is that there's no repayment plan with the gas tax. So take our money, no repayment plan. You borrow our Prop 1A, there's at least a repayment plan with interest. And then on top of that, we've just found out that they're looking at taking redevelopment dollars. And first of all, that may be illegal, but then secondly, it's about a $26 million hit to our local economy, and that is very concerning for me. And when we think about our ability from a redevelopment standpoint, we got about $60 million of Prop 1C funds that allow us to do projects like Township 9, the rail yard, Budget Inn, Curtis Park Village, and now all of a sudden SHRA, our ability to be able to deliver on these projects, is at risk. And we've done a decent to good job up until this point on taking stimulus dollars and making sure we put them to work, but this will be a huge setback for the city of Sacramento. And I'm very disappointed that as a mayor of this city, that we're not only dealing with the economy, but then the challenges that the state is having and them balancing their budget on our backs is something that just does not set well with me. You guys have heard me say this over and over, that when the state makes cuts, and again, Lord bless them for trying to figure out a way to cut a $26 billion gap in terms of their deficit. But when those cuts happen statewide, it impacts every city throughout the state of California. But we as a capital city get a double whammy, because when you lay off state workers, when you furlough state workers, that means those people are not spending money downtown. And that impacts our local businesses, our shops, our restaurants. And it's like a wrecking ball that's going through our economy here in Sacramento. And, again, if you look over an 18-month period, you're talking $1 billion impact on our local economy. So again, I just don't think this is good news for residents of Sacramento, and it concerns me a great deal. And then the other thing I want to say about the redevelopment dollars is we are subject to lose about $16 million in low and moderate housing funds. Now we already have a foreclosure crisis. The mortgage crisis has impacted Sacramento more so than other cities in a significant way. And now you're talking about impacting our low and moderate housing funds, which then increases the number of people that we have homeless here in Sacramento. We're doing everything that we can to deal with our current homeless problem. Now you're talking about a growing problem and challenge here. So again, I am not in a good place right now in terms of mayor in the state. So with that said, we can only control what we can control. And while we can't control the economy and what the state does, I am very excited that our city treasurer is bringing forth tonight to council an opportunity where we as a city can purchase IOUs. And let me give you a little background on that. We as a city we invest about $800 million investment dollars. And a lot of times they're in federal treasury bills. We have a chance to take about 1% or a little over 1%, and instead of investing in the federal government, let's invest in our local businesses, nonprofits, and residents. If we allow them to cash in their IOUs and we purchase it from them, then you're talking about a business who can't make cash flow, can go out and meet his payroll. You're talking about a business that can't purchase additional equipment because they don't have enough funds coming in. This gives them an opportunity to do that. For nonprofits that have a slim margin anyway, they're not able to provide the services for the people locally. There's medical and other industries that aren't able to make payroll and provide the services here. This gives us as a chance as a city to really invest in the people locally, and we can control that. I've asked our city treasurer, is there a risk involved? He said the risk is minimal in every respect. So I think it's an opportunity for us as a local government body to say we are hearing you as residents and business owners and nonprofits, and here's a way that we can help. And I'm very excited about that possibility. And what's the criteria? The criteria is you either have to live in the city or have a business in the city. So it's got to be locally driven. And of course, there'll always be an exception or two to the rule on that. The other opportunity, again, that we as a city, what we can do is we want to kick off today and announce something that we're going to be doing here in the city of Sacramento called the CalWorks program. It's a way that we as a city can look at our budget challenges, and one in particular, we want to be a full service city, public safety a top priority, but we want to make sure we maintain our parks and we keep our bathrooms open, all those sorts of things. But because we didn't get labor concessions from Local 39, we ended up cutting $8 million in parks and recreation. This program here allows us to take young people, and maybe not so young people, who are looking for job training skills as part of the CalWorks program. They have to be gainfully employed or at least be working toward that, get the job skills that they need, and with the rest of their time they can volunteer. It's a city-county program. And what we're going to do is have them volunteer with our parks, help us maintain parks, maybe keep our bathrooms open, and this allows us, again, to stay true to being a full-service city. To be able to deploy those people to parks is something very significant, I think, for our community. There's been such an outcry in our community because we are known for being neighborhood friendly and known for the parks that we have in our community. And I think this is a very good step in that direction. I'm very excited about this opportunity. It's allowing us as a government body to be innovative and find out creative opportunities. There's no cost to the city at this point. It's allowing us to take volunteers and deploy and redirect them into some critical areas. We'll start out with parks, and maybe if this program continues to grow, that there's some other departments that we can have young people dispatched. And we're talking about 40 people or so that will be participating. Again, they get valuable training and work experience, and then the rest of their time they volunteer in one of our departments. So again, that's significant as well. And our assistant city manager, Cassandra Jennings, is here if you guys have any questions on that at the end of this press conference. The last two things I want to talk about really quickly is you're going to hear me always talk about volunteerism. Again, we were able to kick off Operation Backpack earlier this week, where we're trying to get 2,000 backpacks donated for young people who are going to start school in the next month or so. We do not want those young people to start school and be already behind. You got to feel good about yourself, and certainly having a backpack and supplies is something that's very important. There's something called the Extra Mile America Tour. A person named Sean Anderson is biking from San Francisco to DC, and one of his stops is here, going to be in Sacramento on Friday, so we'll be participating in that. And I think that does it. If you guys have questions, we'll be glad to address them. I am not in a good mood today, so let me just say that.
With regard to the state's rate on these local revenues, what's the backup plan? Does this require the city to go back and reopen its budget and look at further cuts, further layoffs?
We're going to have to look at it. Again, assuming that this budget is adopted on Thursday, the worst possible scenario is the one that we're facing. So if you take Prop 1A and borrowing our property taxes, we can actually withstand that. We can withstand that over a period of time. We can borrow from our risk funds and we'll be okay. That doesn't ring true to every city throughout the state of California, but we'll be okay on that. You're talking about $700 million to $1 million, $700 million statewide, which is almost $1 billion, and we're talking about $8 million for gas tax here. We're going to have to look and see how that impacts us. It impacts public safety. You're talking about roads. You're talking about maintenance. You're talking about traffic signals. So again, that's what our team will immediately look at and determine what impact that'll have on us.